welcome to Starting 5, the show where we count down 5 takes, 5 opinions, and 5 things you didn't see coming. I'm your host, Gabe Shaw, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 sports franchises of all time. Joining me today is Abby Haines, Kaden Trenoweth, and Jake Ouellette. So here's how it works. Starting 5, I'm going to have my list right here. We're going to go one by one, and they're each going to discuss what their thoughts on each of my picks are. And at the end, we're going to have a quick discussion about where they'd put it and what they'd change about my list. So let's get started right now with number 5, New York Yankees. You know, despite winning about 20 of their championships, 20 of the 27, before the 1970s, I'm still going to put them on my list because I know, I'm not considering championships before the 1970s, right? So I'm going to put the Yankees at number 5 because despite, again, not all those championships before, they've had some of the greatest players in baseball's history. Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Aaron Judge, Mickey Mantle, that's just to name a few, right? And they've also have one of the winningest percentages in baseball history ever, too. They also have 21 losing seasons out of the over 100 they've been in the league, which is absurd. 21 losing seasons is kind of crazy. I mean, you think they would have more. They've had the last 30 straight years of winning seasons, maybe not winning a championship every year. But, I still think they're one of the greatest franchises of all time. What are your thoughts?
You said it yourself. Like, 74% of the rings came before the 70s, and only 5 of them came after the playoffs expanded to 8 teams. So this was most of their championships were either head-to-head or they beat one other team to get in to the World Series. I can't put the Yankees on my list. That's not the Red Sox fan in me talking, but I think there's better baseball teams with more recent success than the Yankees.
Recent success. They've had winning seasons since the 1990s. Again, not winning a championship, but as a fan, you got to love watching your team make it to the playoffs every year, right?
I'm not saying the Yankees are a bad franchise. I'm not saying they're the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a fan of them.
They've had 21 losing seasons in their whatever,
Well, they almost cracked my list. They almost cracked my list, but I don't know.
It's your list, not mine.
I'll allow it. It's the first selection. You have 5. I think that's fair enough for the Yankees. At least you didn't put them top 3. So I'll allow this one. I got to see the rest of this list, though.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Kaden.
All right, well, let's move on to number 4. I'm going to have the Los Angeles Lakers here. They are also one of the most NBA's storied franchises, winning 17 championships. I don't count one of them because of the bubble, but they also have some before the 1970s. I don't count either, but which is only 5 out of the 17 or 16, whatever. It's fine. But they've also had, again, like the Yankees, they've had some of the greatest players in the NBA's history as well, including Magic Johnson, Kobe, Shaq, Jerry West. The NBA's insignia. So they've had one of the greatest franchises of all time. And with most of their success actually coming recently, they've won a lot in the 90s. They won a lot in the early 2000s. They won just a couple years ago in 20, again, I don't count that, but they won in 2011, So they're just a great storied franchise. And again, like the Yankees, it feels like they're always in the mix. They always have a superstar. They always are just up there in the playoff race, and they're always going to be a good team. I don't think they've had a stretch of 5 losing seasons in a row in a long time. They've only had a couple bad seasons recently. So I think they're going to be my number 4. What are your thoughts?
It hurts me as a Celtics fan to talk positively about the Lakers, but I agree. I think, like you said, one of the better franchises in its history. And Shaq and Kobe were arguably the best duo of the 90s and early 2000s. So I like where they're at.
I'm going to have to agree with Jake. I think when you think of the Lakers, you think of polarizing players that won championships with that team. So, again, this is very early on in the list, and there's a lot of good franchises in this small amount of space that you have. The Lakers being 4, I think they either should be higher or at 5. Depending on how the rest of this list goes.
Yeah, like you said, they have a lot of big players that have come from that franchise. They haven't won the most championships, but I think it's solid for a 4.
Well, I'm starting to sway them. All right, so at number 3, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers of NFL. Just like the last 2 teams, they're consistently winning, right? They haven't had a losing season since 2003. Again, maybe not super you don't want to be middle of the pack, right?
Are we going to count 9 and 7 first round exit? Are we counting
9 and 8.
It's a winning season, though, right? Winning season.
501%.
Winning season, right? It's
All
not.
right.
It's not sub 500.
All right.
You got.
Keep
I
going.
mean, it's just a winning
Explain.
season, right?
Explain.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is over the Lakers, but
Because-
just keep explaining.
Well, they've won a couple championships in the last 20 years, right? With Big Ben, and then in the 70s they established themselves as one of the NFL's first dynasties because they actually never won a championship before the 60s, right? And they're they were the oldest franchise at the time to not win one until the 70s, and then they went on a tear. So again, recently, maybe going 9 and 7, 9 and 8, not the greatest look on them, but it's a winning season nonetheless, and I count that as something that's good for a winning team. You know, they've had some great players in their history, like I mentioned, Big Ben, Terry Bradshaw, Antonio Brown, stuff like that. You know, big players like that, and so they're one of the greatest football franchises of all time. And if it wasn't for New England, they'd still have the most right now. All right.
I mean, you and I would know that Xander would be all over this, being very upset that
Yeah.
they're not one. But like, I can't really put 9 and 8 and 9 and 7 ahead of that. And it's like there's been teams that have been dominant. But I do like them on the list of the top 5. I wouldn't have them as high as 3, but I still think they deserve to be in the top 5.
I don't even think they're top 3 in their own sport. So this is kind of interesting that we're nearing 2 and 1, and you got them above the Lakers. I know the Lakers don't play the same sport, but what I'm saying is the Lakers are definitely above the Steelers, and the Steelers aren't even top 5 in their own sport. So please keep explaining.
Oh, I don't have anything else to explain. They're winning. They have winning seasons. You know, as a fan, again, maybe not getting a middle-of-the-road draft pick and not doing anything isn't what you want. But as a fan, I'd love to have a winning season. I hate watching my team lose every year. You know, Abby, what's your take?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go agree with Kaden. If they're not top 5 in their sport, they shouldn't be top 3 on the list of all
They're not top 5 in their sport though. They have winning season after winning season. Again, not great winning season, but they're also tied for most championships in the league. You know, you've had some teams that are higher in championships but haven't won in 30 years, like the Cowboys and 49ers. So I don't know how you could really not put them on your top 5. I mean, this is my list. Everything's right, but that's just what I say.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Okay, so we're moving on to number 2. This might be the hottest take of them all, but I'm going to put the Chicago Blackhawks on my list from the NHL. They have won 6 championships, 3 which I don't count because they came before the 1970s against plumbers. However, those 3 championships came in these last 20 years. They won them in a short period of time, and I think they're a top franchise. You know, they've been around for the longest time, so maybe it's not good that they haven't won a lot, but they're consistently have been just some team that you want to watch in hockey. Now, I know they've been kind of bad recently, but with the rise of them, Connor Bedard, they look like a strong team, and they look like they're going to be a champion soon. And that's why they're my number 2, and they're probably my greatest hockey franchise of all time. So I want to hear what you guys think.
You just said of all time.
Of all time.
Go.
Of all time is definitely a thought. That's happened all time. I can't put the Blackhawks up here. Granted, yes, they won 3 in 5 years. 2010, 2012, 2014. They won 3 in 5 years. But if you're not counting Stanley Cups before the 70s, they have 3 Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
There's teams that have won 3 Stanley Cups in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I can't.
But they've only been around for 20 years.
They're not even the best in their own region. Like
I don't know about that one.
they're not even the best hockey team in the Great Lakes region. Let
Well, that
alone
one, they have Connor Bedard. They're pretty good.
oh, they have Connor Bedard.
You just said they've been terrible the last couple of years.
Yeah, but because of him, they're going to be up there. They're going to be one of the greatest teams of
so
all time.
why
when
aren't the
it's all said
Sharks
and
up
done.
here?
Because
They have Macklin Celebrini.
they've never won a championship before. They've also been around for like 30 years.
Why aren't the Leafs up here? Austin
suck.
Matthews.
They haven't won a championship since the 1940s. So none of their championships count.
What about the Hurricanes? They got Bradley Nadeau.
One championship? Bradley Nadeau? Who's that?
Oh.
All right, let's go. All right,
It's the greatest
Abby, what
player
do
ever
you
graced
say?
the ice.
The Penguins won the same amount of championships as the Blackhawks.
I mean, she's got a good point. But they also have Sidney Crosby. They have one of the greatest players in NHL's history. You know, the Blackhawks haven't really had that. I mean, Patrick Kane, I know they had some great players.
So
but
how are they not on the list? If they've had more franchise players.
Granted, we haven't seen number one
because
yet.
Blackhawks are doing it without the superstar talent. You know, they're just doing it with a well-rounded, great team, and that's why they're one of the greatest NHL franchises of all time.
Can you name someone from the Blackhawks before the Connor Bedard era and after Jonathan Toews left?
Yeah. I can't do that, but so we're going to move on to pick number one.
Lay up Patrick Kane, buddy. Okay.
I did say Patrick Kane before. You guys weren't listening. So
We were very much listening.
let's go to number one because I'm sure that this pick will have everyone agreeing with me. I have the New England Patriots at number one. And
Enough said.
6 championships in 20 years. They were in the slums before Brady came along. They've been around since 1960, so 10 years of championships that wouldn't count. They didn't win. They didn't have a winning season until like the 70s. But in '85, they beat the Bears. They didn't beat them. The Bears beat them in the Super Bowl. They crushed them. In the '90s, '97, the Packers beat them in the Super Bowl. New England wouldn't even be up here today if it wasn't for Tom Brady. And I know I'm talking about recency bias, but 6 championships in 20 years is absolutely insane. They went to 9 championships, and they won 6 of them. So Tom Brady, greatest football player of all time. Edelman, great receiver. Gronk, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. I mean, I don't know how you can't put them in your top 5, let alone number 1. So I want to hear your thoughts on my number 1 pick.
I would like to mention the state of Florida have won 4 Stanley Cups in the last 4 years, but
Hey, we're talking about football, buddy. So
I'm just pointing it out. I agree. I think I agree. Again, they're better than the Steelers. I think there's still a team in between the two, but I like the Patriots at 1.
I think the Patriots are a fair one, but I think the last 20 years have really skewed what they are, right? Mm-hmm. This is not a historically great team, but what they've done in the last 20 years definitely puts them in people's top 5. I'll accept Patriots at 1, but the rest of the list is pretty horrible.
yeah, I was almost going to put just Tom Brady at number 1 because
That
of your point being they've been bad
May.
historically.
Drake May.
That's 2 franchises though.
What?
Patriots and Buccaneers. If he's just putting Tom Brady up there, that's 2 franchises.
Tom Brady's
That
a
would be
franchise of his own.
That'd be 6.
No, he's calling Tom Brady the franchise.
Tom Brady is.
Tom Brady.
He's a franchise of his own.
Okay.
You know, he has 7 championships. I know it's with 2 different teams, but he's a franchise of his own.
So you can't call Gronk.
Because he has more championships than any franchise by himself, so he's his own franchise. So I almost thought of putting Tom Brady up here, but that would have discredited the amazing team and players the Patriots have had over the last 20 years or so. So, I mean, even though they didn't win, they had Bledsoe. They had some great players before that too. So, Abby, I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, you made some solid points. I'm going to have to agree with you there.
Well, that's my starting 5, and so lastly, we're going to do the final whistle, which I'm going to give each of them a final 10 seconds or so to give me what they think. So, go ahead.
San Francisco Giants aren't on this list. Boston Celtics aren't on this list. The Dodgers aren't on this list.
Celtics won 8 championships in the 1950s and 60s when Bill Russell was playing against plumbers and electricians.
70% of the Yankees championships came before.
Yeah, that's why I didn't count them.
They're on the list.
I didn't count those championships, though, because the Yankees have had some great winning seasons and stuff. They won a lot in the 90s and the early 2000s. I don't know what you're talking about.
Red Wings aren't on this list. The Penguins aren't on this list. What else am I missing? You got the rest of them. Spurs.
Yeah, get the Spurs on there. Here's the thing. The Yankees and the Steelers, to me, are on the same pedestal. Historically great logos and franchises. But that pedestal, it's a changing season. That pedestal is now in the attic. It might come out later. We might set it up as a display. But those two are definitely not recently. They're not a top 5 franchise. And then you got to throw in the Blackhawks at 2.
There's 2 teams in Florida that have had more championships recently than the Blackhawks have.
Yeah, but it's Florida. It's hot over there, and they've only been around for like 30 years.
You would think in Florida, where it's hot, ice wouldn't work.
Well, they built a dome over the ice.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm still saying the Panthers and the Lightning should be ahead of the Blackhawks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Blackhawks are the greatest NHL franchise of all time. Okay. All right, well, that's the final whistle. And this is this week's starting 5, because this is my list, and I can't miss. Thanks for watching.
You missed 5
and if
times.
you've got your own list, we'll see you next time. No, I didn't.